Hello everyone, welcome to AI Anytime channel. In this video, we are going to build a GraphRAG application named Graphy. In the previous video, we built a real-time RAG application named Document Buddy app. You can find the link of that video in description and also the GitHub repository link in description as well. Now in this video, the agenda is to build a real-time GraphRAG app. We are calling it Graphy V1. We're also going to have a Graphy V2 version 2 of this video as well, where we're going to look at all the open source stack. In this video, I'm going to use closed source stack, closed source technology stack, including LLM. We're going to use GPT-4 OpenAI model, as a large language model. We're going to use Neo4j cloud. We're not going to host it locally or self-host it. Langchain for orchestration, embedding model again from text ada 002 or any other embedding model we're going to see, and Streamlit for building the user interface. And in the next video of this same project, we're going to have V2 where we're going to use Ollama. That video has also been recorded. I'm going to post that soon. Now, in that video, we're going to use Llama 3.2 via Ollama, and we're going to self-host Neo4j using Docker, and we're going to use Qdrant as a vector database. So let's see how you can use Graphy V1, and of course you can take the code from the GitHub repository, use it wherever you want to use. You can use it in your college projects, your final year projects. You can use this as your workplace. You can also sell this project, after making it a bit more functional, and you can enhance the capabilities of this tool or app, whatever you call it, completely free. Whatever you want to do with this, you can do it. Now, if you look at here on my screen, I am on Graphy. And this is how it looks like. Uh, Completely modular. I'm not doing anything like locally offline, things here. You can bring up your own keys and it will sit in the environment. You can connect to the Neo4j database, cloud database. I'm gonna show that. It's a graph database. Okay. Now recently there was a huge demand of building GraphRAG. Building RAG in a traditional manner based on retrievals, like distance-based retrievals, probably is not always good for complex use cases where there are a lot of correlations between, the data entities that you have. So imagine if you have, you know, uh, a patient data, a large 50 years data of a patient, and you can find out, multiple medicine symptoms, test, physical test, so on and so forth. And there are a lot of correlations in this data when you talk about medicines versus symptoms and so on and so forth. So when there are a lot of relationships that you can derive, that's where you can use databases like graph databases. And if you look at here on my screen, I have Neo4j. Okay, I've created an instance in free. It's running right now. You can see I have different nodes and I have relationships for those nodes as well. And I'm going to give you a walkthrough of the code. Not going to write any single line of code, like very redundant code that I have explained in previous videos as well. Now, you can see here we have Graphy. We have in sidebar here. In the sidebar, we have expand me, where it talks about a bit of the description of the app, and you can set your OpenAI API key over here. You can connect to Neo4j database over here. So when you work with Neo4j cloud, you need three things. You need URL, you need username, you need password. Okay. URL, you can find it out from here. Of course, I'm going to delete this after this video. That's it. So I can show you. You can see this is your connection URI. Okay, uniform resource indicator. This is what you have to put it over here, in this thingy. And then you need a password. Password, you can find it out once you create an instance. It shows you the password only once. And now the first time when you come on this application, if you want to use it, you have to first bring up all of your credentials. There are two ways you can do it. If you don't want to use this as like in real time settings, you can also, or don't want to use it as modular as what I want to build it, you can also set this in your env, in the backend as well. Now the first thing is that I'm gonna set up my keys. Of course, I'm gonna take all of my keys here. This is my OpenAI keys, so I'm gonna put it over here. And then I have my, you can see it says OpenAI API key set successfully. Okay, now we're gonna set up our Neo4j thing. So for the Neo4j, you can find out, I have my databases here, of course. Don't mind, I'm gonna delete this anyway. Now Neo4j URL, and I'm gonna do Neo4j password. So this is what I'm gonna do, and bring up my password here. And once you click on connect, it will connect with your Neo4j database. You can see it says connected to Neo4j database. Now, once you connect and set up your keys, LLM's keys and your Neo4j databases, then you can upload a PDF file. You can see it says please select a PDF file, drag and drop file over here, and here you can upload your PDF file, guys. Right? I have a PDF, the same PDF that I have taken in the previous video. I recommend you watch my previous videos on Document Buddy app, where we build a real-time RAG using completely open source stack, where we used a medical case study of a patient. She was suffering through gastro issues like some and a lot of different symptoms that she had, and it's a case study by Massachusetts hospital or something. So I'm just gonna upload that file here. Now once you upload that file, I already have created my knowledge base here, but I'm gonna basically the graph database over here, and let me first show you the code, okay, and then we will explain. Then I'll just go here and I'll show you, because now here you upload a file, it will just process it again. Okay, and then you can ask questions related to it. Okay, now I first want to explain the code to you. Okay, so if you look at the code directory, I have created a virtual environment in Python. It's called .venv. I have a .env file where I have set up all of my envs. And of course, if you don't want to use it like through an input that we are taking for the credentials, you can you can set up that env over here. I have a logo.png called Graphy. I just named it something. You can also name whatever you want. Requirement. This is the requirement txt that we have. Okay, you can see Langchain, Langchain community, sentence transformers, Langchain experimental, blah, blah, blah. This is the requirement that you need. Don't worry about the code. The entire repository is available with a very good documented README file on the GitHub repository. You can just go and follow the steps, and this application is yours. And of course, you can enhance it. You can make it 10x, right? It's like right now, if this is 0, 1, you can make it 10x. Now, if I go to main.py, all the imports. So first is OS, load.env for the env file, PyPDF loader because we're going to upload a PyPDF. You can also use unstructured or llama parts, whatever you want to do it. And then I have recursive character text splitter, very pretty simple or standard text splitter that we have from Langchain. You can use semantic chunking and other splitter as well if you want. We have just a bit of data validation. We have a document for the schema. We have prompt template. For vector stores, we are using Neo4j vector. So guys, this is mainly of a hybrid search where you have vectors and graph as well including. Now we have chat OpenAI, and the chat models. You can also use any other LLM you want. If you don't want to use OpenAI because you don't have credits, or if you don't have subscriptions, you can use Grok, Chat Grok. They give you some free LLMs API. You can use Vertex AI if you are on GCP. You can use Bedrock services if you are on AWS. You can use Azure OpenAI if you are on Azure. And the next video, wait for it, we're going to use Olama, and we're going to use some open source LLM. Now, OpenAI embeddings, we're going to use the large embedding by OpenAI. You can use any other embedding model you want, depends what you want to do. Neo4j graph from Langchain. We're going to use LLMGraphTransformer. Basically, pretty standard. This basically makes your uh, LLM understand and interpret graph data. So we have LLMGraphTransformer. This also basically, take your unstructured data, whatever data you have, and helps you define entities, relationships as well. That's what it also does. And then we have Cipher, graph cipher QA chain. If you have worked with RAG and LLM chains, you will be aware about LLM chain and retrieval QA chain or conversational chains and so on and so forth. Now, graph cipher QA chain. So Cipher is an interesting thing, very intuitive. Uh, I'll say I'll say a technique that helps you query graph databases. It's a graph query language. Mainly famous for, if you work with graph databases like Neo4j or NetworkX or anything else, now that if you're working with Tiger Graph or something, that helps you basically deal with that. We have a Streamlit user interface. You can also use Chainlit or Gradio if you want. We have Neo4j like graph database just for connecting with the Neo4j. That's the import, guys. I hope you guys got it. Not writing the code because it doesn't make sense, just typing the same thing is. I think it's important that you should understand. That's what it matters. Okay. Now what we have a main function. That's our entry code, and If you don't use these things like layout equals to wide, then this app will be in the just in the center of the page. It will not take the entire width. Okay, that's what it does. So I have layout equals wide. It's a page config. It's like Streamlit setting some page configuration of your user interface. We have a page title. Now this page title is nothing but this title in the tab that you see, Graphy V1. Okay, that's what it is. And then it has a graph icon, page icon, something. Okay. Now I have a logo.png. I created this logo using a website called Namelix. If you want to do the same free website, go and take a screenshot. Don't pay money for that. Logo.png and take the column width through. Okay, so you can see it's a true column width, so it's taking the entire column width. You can also use ht.logo if you want. Streamlit also provides a logo modules, by default, but I am more comfortable using ht.image, so I can basically customize that a bit. Now, I have an expander. Now, expander is nothing but a collapsible kind of a feature that Streamlit provides for the user interface where you can write something, you can explain it. Pretty sleek, right? That's what it, minimal and sleek thing by Streamlit. It just explains the app over here. You can see it says this application allows you to upload a PDF file. Now, after that, we have, of course, title of the app and then load DNV, blah, blah, blah. And now setting up the OpenAI key. So if you look at here, what we are doing, we are saying, so guys, whenever you work with these things, right, ENVs, credentials, whatever, you have to set that in an environment. So the environment that you are working in, right? Otherwise, the credentials might get lost, and you cannot basically use the technology stack you want to use. So Streamlit has something called session state. They provide it by default called session underscore state. So what we are doing it over here, we are saying if OpenAI underscore API key underscore key not in st.session state. So first checking not in, then you have to set it. Then I'm saying, okay, enter the OpenAI API key, blah, 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 type password, because then it will hash it, basically makes it invisible. You cannot see it. And then we have OpenAI API key. Once somebody enters it, we're gonna set that in environment over here. You can see over here that gets updated. And then say OpenAI API key set successfully. I'm using OpenAI embedding model over here, like ADA002, or you can use large model, and I have my GPT-4o. I have written that called model that supports function calling. It's an important. I will come to this. Okay, if you want, let me explain that in a bit later. Otherwise, you will get confused. Okay, st.session state embeddings equals embeddings, and then LLM equals LLM. So now we have set our LLMs and embeddings. And if you don't have to set it, it's already there, then it automatically takes it. So you can see else, and it's already set in the environment. Same goes with Neo4j connection, guys. Initially, it's all none, and then uh, if Neo4j not in st.session state, then it will try to connect with your Neo4j database. So you can see we have some URL, URI, username, password, and a connect button. That's what we have over here if you see in the left hand side. Now you put all your inputs, okay, and there are some, of course, some placeholders that basically helps you understand what kind of value you have to input. And then we have a try except kind of a thing. If it's all goes well, you'll be able to connect with it. If there's something breaks, then you have to get an exception or some error, by the tool. Now, and then here we just set it if it's already, we don't have to set it if it's already set. Okay, so up to here I get, I think you get it, what you have to do. Now, the next thing is that we have to ensure that Neo4j connection is established before proceeding. So you cannot immediately upload a PDF file, right? If it's not set. That's what we are doing here. We have a file uploader. You can upload files up to, like, I think 100 MB or something. If I'm not 200 MBs, you can upload, but don't upload a 200 MB file. It will break your flow. Okay. Now we have some spinners and all. Saving the files. You can see temporarily. Okay, and then loading the file with a temporary file path, and then splitting it. Have a chunk size of 200 and chunk overlap of 40. You can increase it depending on, always keep 25% of your chunk size if you want to set an overlap. And then I have a docs, get the docs, empty docs, and append that with page content. You can see page content not replacing all the slash n, the line breaks with empty white spaces, metadata, file name, blah blah blah. If you have multiple files, that's where it basically more helpful. Now clearing the graph database if that's already there. You probably don't have to do it if you don't want to always, like, every time you want to create it for the same file. You can bring up some extra logic, additional logics, where you can check for mainly if you already have that file and you already created a uh, graph database for that file, then you don't have to do it. Okay. Now here I have nodes and relationships. You have to create a structure, for your graph data. Like, so imagine if you have a document, there are two ways you can deal with it. Give that document to LLM itself and ask it to create, nodes and relationships, find out entities and where you're gonna match it. But I don't recommend it yet. I think it's still better if you can uh, define the structure manually, then because you understand your data better when it comes to these kind of complex use cases. But there are two ways. If you want to set it up, like if you want LLM to decide that, okay, then you have to use a model that supports function calling. Okay, and within LLM graph transformer. So I'll talk about it. Now here, if you look at what I'm doing nodes and relationships. So for the nodes, like the nodes and relationships are like connected, right? Each nodes, and there are relationships within the nodes. If you understand data structures when it comes to graph databases. Now, if we have patient, disease, medications, test, symptoms, and doctor. Okay, this is my node. You can increase these by n number of nodes depending on how big your data is and how many correlations you can create or relationships you can find. And then we have relationships has disease, takes medications, underwent test, has symptom, treated by. Now, if I show you one thing, you can see over here. Let me just make this a bit bigger so you can see it. Now, if you see it, I have a patient. It says takes medication and for stomach cancer. If you look at here, the disease, this is my disease thing that I have. And of course, you can customize it. I'm not going to go into it. And that of course it has an ID over here. You can see this ID, okay, for this particular uh, stomach cancer that we have. This patient takes medication for this free of disease, blah blah blah. Now these are all medicines, guys. If I double click on this medicine called adenosarcoma or adenosarcoma of the body of the stomach, see underwent test. So that's a test mentions, and this is osteopenia. Has if you look at how the relationships are now being derived. Patient takes medications, stomach cancer, has disease, osteopenia. Osteopenia is a disease, if I'm not wrong. And if you click on medications, you can find out all the medications over here. Okay, so if you look at my, I don't know why I'm not able to, but anyway, if you look at the medications, I'm going to click on omeprazole. From my understanding, omeprazole is a medicines for bloating or something like some gas issues or something. I used to study in biology when there's something called Joel OLE in the last of a medicine. It's mainly a gastric medicines. I don't know if that's right, but yeah, we have metformin. So if I click on metformin or Paxil, for example, if I click on Paxil, you can see patient takes medications Paxil. If I click on omeprazole, it says a patient takes medications. If I click on metformin, you can see how beautifully it derives. If I click on Inderil, you can see how beautifully it derives over here. All the medications like the patient is taking. You can also download as a PNG if you want to download. And of course, through Cipher query language, you can of course bring it up here and throw in the Streamlit as well. In LLM graph transformer, you can also pass an input parameter where you can return this. Okay, charts basically. I will, or maybe if you are interested, you can do a pull request on the GitHub repository and enhance this. Probably I'll open that as well. You can see it over here how beautifully we're able to do it. Now, what I wanted to do is, I think there's dark theme as well. If I'm not wrong. Where is the dark theme feature? It should be somewhere in settings on Neo4j. Uh, why can't I see that? True. Yeah, but you can let me know. I was preferring more of a dark theme, so it looks good. It's easier to interpret. Now we have medications done. Disease we already see in the previous in the below tab. Excuse me. In the below tab we have disease. If you see here, I was talking about medicine. Sorry, excuse me. That's my bad. Osteopenia and adenosarcoma and all these are all diseases, not medications. So you can, of course, you can make this a bit big. You can see it over here. Let me just download this thingy here and download as a PNG. Now we have test and test. I think that this is not a lot. We have C underwent test abdominal pain or something, abdominal ultrasound, sorry, excuse me. And if you click on that, and you can see it over here, how beautiful this looks like, right? Now, this is how you can derive relationship, guys. LLM will have better understanding and it will be really precise. You can basically aug, you can you can help LLM to augment the responses better because it will have better understanding of relationships and it will be a bit more contextual, when you also bring up graph with distance-based retrievals. You can find out the relationships and everything that we have over here. We have test, we already checked it by the way, patients, this patient, see like there's only one patient here. You can, these are amazing. You can download this and you can also expand this and you can also run your cipher over here and you can just again run this over here. These are all cipher query that you can of course learn. If you want to learn these things, guys, you can also use ChatGPT to learn it. You don't have to pay a lot of money to understand cipher, like, because these are the things you can learn faster. you know uh, these are, you can find out all of my previous thing, that history that I have done today. You can find saved cipher. This is your cipher like based databases. You can find out we are using Aura DB. You can also use Aura DS as well, depending on what you want to do. But this, I was thinking, of something, but it's not able to get. Anyway, let me go back on the code. So this is what we are doing. If you look at here, right, this is what you can find it out here on the database information as well. Now, once you do that, we have to transform these documents into a graph documents. It has to become a document, and that to a graph document. That's where the GraphRAG will work. So for that, we're gonna use we're gonna use a class called LLMGraphTransformer. It's a module. Now, if you read that, it says LLM based language model, allowed nodes, allowed relationships, prompt. You can pass prompt. You can pass, node properties. You can pass relationship properties. You can pass different tools, a lot of other input params that you can use over here. So I have a LLM that I'm passing the LLM. I have allowed nodes, relationship, and these two that I'm done false, you can make this true as well. And that's where you have to let LLM decide on node properties and relationship properties, and the model should support function calling for that natively. Otherwise, you will start probably getting an error. Now that's what it is here. Now basically just convert the graph document. We append that LC docs that we had on top, empty docs over here if you see it, and then add the graph documents over here. Now we used the stored connection parameters. We pass everything over here. You can see embedding model that we are using, vector index, giving it a name, database name, your connections, blah, blah, blah. And then we say preparation is complete for that particular file name. And then we have you can also print that schema on Streamlit if you want. That basically gives you graph.get schema, gives you the schema. We have a prompt, very simple QA chain. Now, I'm not doing a lot of conversational thing over here. I just want simple answers. Asking a question, just give me the precise answer. So what I'm saying is generate a cipher statement to query the graph database. You can look at here. This is the task, and I'm giving an instruction. Use only relationships type and properties provided in schema. So the schema that you see over here, don't use other relationship types or property that are not provided. So this basically also cuts a lot of hallucinations, guys. When if you have complex use cases, you have different documents where it's the RAG are like hallucinating a lot. How you can use GraphRAG to basically restrict that entire workflow or the pipeline to basically adhere to the context that it's getting or the output that it's getting from this particular QA chain. I pass the schema, and then this user is coming from the user's questions on the Streamlit app, and then I'm creating a prompt. Pretty simple chain things here. We have a graph chain over here, verbose true, graph, LLM passing all those things, and then just invoking it over here. You can see pretty simple things. Now this is the code. I hope you got an idea of the code. Okay, I would have written as well, but if I have to write each line, it will take a lot of time. So just create it in advance so you can just have a look. Later on, you can just fork the repository and start using it as it is. If you want to use it. Now I'll just go a bit up and I'll just show you. So it will be very similar in the next video as well. We're gonna code this. Okay, in the next video, okay, let me just do one thing. Let me first here also show you. So I'm gonna upload my document. Okay, and you can see it says processing the PDF. It's gonna take a bit of time. Now, what I was saying is that in the next video as well, the Graphy V2 video that we're going to create. This is version 1, which is completely closed source. We're going to have Neo4j running within Docker, QDRANT, a vector database running within Docker, okay, and embedding model like BGE embeddings or mini LML6 V2 running within, all locally, and we're going to use Llama 3.2 through OLama. So that's the stack that's going to remain in that next video that we're going to create on Graphy. So the reason I want to create this video, guys, that you do not have to pay a lot of money on Udemy and all of those things. People are like just making fool of youngsters or freshers, and they are charging for these courses. You see these companies, like a lot of companies, I will not take their name, like they charges in 2 lakhs, 3 lakhs for courses, which in my sense are not at all useful, to be very honest. If somebody is asking a lot of money for education, any kind of education, it's not worth, to be very honest. Okay, it's like business. People are making business of selling courses. Okay, we create videos, not only me, a lot of other YouTubers. I create videos, put it on YouTube. We get paid for the ads. Okay, if you views are more, likes are more, views are more, the YouTube pays us for ads. We are not creating this video for making a hell lot of money, uh, we are not selling these videos. I can easily put these videos on Udemy or anywhere else, but I don't want to do that. Okay, now you can get this code. Let's go back to our thingy. Now, if you look at here, it says gastroesophageal surgery case scenario, stomach cancer, PDF preparation is complete. So we already have, so this is complete now. Okay, we have created a very good graph knowledge base on Neo4j already, and you can use any tool to basically deal with it. And you can ask any questions and basically also get the answers on this tool as well. So if you see what I did, I asked list all the medications. It's just list me the output. It says lisinopril, metformin, atorvastatin, Paxil, omeprazole, and Inderal. Now what we can do over here, to basically make this a bit more descriptive and make it a bit more verbose, and LLM can make it like 2 3 lines of answers like, okay, thanks for your questions, here are the medicines that I found in the corner, blah blah blah. So what we are making sure here that it does not hallucinate. Okay, it's basically just gives the answer which it finds in here in this particular database that we have over here. That was the agenda, guys, of this video. I hope you got it. Pretty simple things, but really powerful, extremely powerful. Okay, as I said, that this notebook will be available on my, not notebook, the code base will be available on my GitHub repository. Find the link in description. Okay, if you have any questions, thoughts, feedbacks, please let me know in the comment box. You can also reach out to me through my social media channel. Find those information on channel banner and channel about us. I will recommend and encourage you to join our Discord community, guys. If you are not joining our Discord community, probably you are missing something really cool. Discord community, we are already 600 plus, helping each other, global audience, job opportunity, internships, freelancing, project showcase, helping each other, different channels, meme channels, so on and so forth. Find the Discord link in GitHub repository, guys. Okay, you have to find it. Find it on GitHub, find it on LinkedIn, find it on channel banner. It's sometimes it might miss it in the description, so you have to basically put some effort and find it. Okay. Uh, if you like the content, please hit the like icon. If you haven't subscribed the channel yet, please do subscribe the channel, guys. That motivates me to create more such videos in your future. That's all for this video. Thank you so much for watching. See you in the next one.